Hey, Runbo's here and Kathy's here.
And we paid the price. The fire was crackling, the embers were red. We were all tucked snug in our feather bed. Then I heard a rumble from up on the roof. Sounded louder than a reindeer hoof. It wasn't a jingle and it wasn't a bell. It was followed closely by a powerful smell. The pressure was building in his big round gut, and the chimney acted like a megaphone. Santa farted down the chimney. It blew the soot right off the brick. It wasn't a ho-ho, it was a low, low blow from the backside of St. Nick. The dog passed out and the cat turned green. The worst silent night that I ever seen. We wanted presents, but we got a whiff of a North Pole gaseous gift. Now Grandma woke up and she grabbed her cologne. She said something died inside the danger zone. The living room.
Broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Cleveland. It's station WDWL TV with me, the grumpy old man, and another guest appearance by the grumpy jackalope. And we are brought to you by, oh, come on, Jesus. Get the banner straight. Grumpy Vulture Productions. No bow. And, oh, oops. I forgot to boot the tablet. We will have a slight delay. Well, wait till a frickin' tablet boots up now, damn it. I knew I was forgetting something. I was like, okay, got the other Christmas song, and I forgot to boot the tablet.
Gemini, will this hand feed 6
adults? I don't want no commercials there. Man, nothing's going right tonight. Jesus. Of course, I forgot to charge the tablet, so now it's going to take forever to boot up. That's what happens when you try to run two computers, you know. It's amazing how they do it at a radio station. Although, you know, they've been, disc jockey's been doing it for years. I watched John Lanigan run 3 different computer screens that day I was in the studio. It was amazing. Although the cool thing was he had 3 different, like one was commercials, one was songs. I can't remember what the third screen. But as he ran his mouse, the cursor went from one screen to another screen to another screen. It just went right across 3 monitors. I was like, how does that happen? So he was controlling 3 different computers with one mouse. And it was just, you would see the cursor go off the edge of one monitor and then start at the edge of the other monitor. Come on, boot up.
Out of that, a new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
And now we will have the ceremonial lighting of the Festivus pole. Take 2. Come on, remote. There, finally. Gee, even the damn remote didn't want to operate. Jesus. Oh. Won't need this anymore. Turn it off. Power off. Power off. 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 I hate to get rid of that tablet, but boy, it's getting bad. Going on 16 years. That LG tablet, you can figure over 16 years, almost daily use. And it's still, I won't say going strong. No, it does, with a fully charged battery. I forgot to charge it, so we're at 50%. When the battery is fully charged, thing operates like day one. But the battery will no. I have all the apps shut off. I got everything shut off I can shut off. And sitting there, the battery will go from 100% all the way down to like nothing in an hour. And the sad thing is, there's no way of putting a new battery in it. Because I would probably end up breaking it. Although I still haven't looked for an amplified speaker for the, now wait a minute. Oh, I didn't even think. I have this nice big sound bar. I could probably plug the sound bar into my Tough Pad. I think I will try that tomorrow. If I can plug the sound bar in, I will transfer all my music over to the Tough Pad and retire the LG tablet. Although I'm there are several computer repair places around here that people operate out of their basements. I'm going to start calling them and ask them, is there any way you can replace a battery in a 16-year-old LG tablet? The guy probably tell me it costs you more than what it's worth. Well, it's worth a lot to me because the thing has a shitload of music that I can't get for free anymore. My ham and sweet potatoes were absolutely delicious. And I have enough left for tonight. Pop it in the old micronucleator. I told you I bought that microwave that's a microwave, a convection oven, and an air fryer, all in one. Whirlpool. And the other day, I says to him, I says, one of these days, take that manual and figure out how I use this as an air fryer. And he goes, I've been using it for an air fryer from day one. I said, well, what do you do? He said, you know that air fryer rack that you have to put in? I said, yeah. He says, you put that in, and then you hit air fry, and then your time goes by weight of what you're cooking. I said, when I'm ready to air fry, just show me. Don't push the point here, point there, point there. I won't get it. Just show me. What model Toshiba laptop? You got a satellite? Because there's on eBay, there's a shitload of parts for Toshiba satellite laptops because I have a Toshiba satellite. Because a couple years ago, I broke the screen. And I ordered a screen, and the computer guy down the street, he only charged me $50 to put the new one in. But they make a shitload of parts are available on eBay. What is your keyboard doesn't work? Or are like some of the keys inoperable? Email me your specs. Look on the back and give me the model number and all the information, and I'll see if I can find you a keyboard. Although you would need somebody to install it, unless you're pretty adept at electronics. Well, send me all the info. And I'll try to find you a keyboard. And like I say, you'd have to have a computer guy do the install. I mean, I can swap hard drives and I can swap batteries, but when it gets to screens and keyboards and shit, I don't want to fuck it up. Oh, what the hell is the, I got, now you'll love this, Kathy and Ron. I got a hell of a deal on a used Alienware laptop. And this thing had outrageous specs on it. It was used for gaming, but I don't game. So I buy this Alienware laptop. And I had it for about a week. And I had it on a desk in my bedroom. So I fired it up one night. I waited for it to boot up. I went in the kitchen. And I got me, which I rarely drink, I got me a glass of chocolate milk. I had a taste for chocolate milk. I bought some at the store. So I put the glass on the desk, unfortunately, next to the keyboard, right next to the laptop. I get a phone call And the phone was in here, in the studio. I come in to get the phone. I walk back in the bedroom, and Boots is sitting on top of the desk, and the chocolate milk is spilled across the keyboard of my Alienware laptop. And he's sitting there. Needless to say, kaput. All that money in the sewer. Well, if you feel it's worth fixing, Ron, get it fixed. I'm trying to think how old my Toshiba is, my satellite. Oh, God, it's probably 10 years. I don't use it on a regular basis. I use it like once or twice a month just to keep it rolling. You know, make sure it's updated and that. I love it. I love that laptop. Matter of fact, I'm thinking of ordering a hard drive with Windows 11 in it. Even though it's kind of sketchy on specs, I would like to update it and at least use it for email and so on. Matter of fact, I think it was like 6 months old when I bought it. A girl had bought it brand new. She used it for about 6 months. She got into a little bit of financial problem, and she sold off all of her electronics. And I got that Toshiba for a hell of a deal. It replaced my chocolate milk Alienware. Well, I'd invest in getting it fixed, Ron. That sucker blows mine away. Although, see, like with that Alienware, it was way above what I needed. Because I don't game, I don't do any of that. I just wanted an Alienware. Well, I had it until Boots decided he wanted to drink some chocolate milk. Of course, I should have put the glass on my nightstand instead of next to the damn laptop, but I didn't think the asshole would knock the glass over. Yeah, I picked it up and I went in the bathroom over the sink and was pouring chocolate milk out of it. And I was like, why am I bothering? It's beyond repair already. And it was. The guy at the computer shop said, what did you bring me? I said, He said, you didn't think I could save this. I said, well, he said, no. Oh, God, yeah, it probably weighs as much as, it weighed as much as my Tough Pad. My Tough Pad weighs about as much as a frickin' laptop. And my Tough Book weighs about as much as a desk computer. Matter of fact, I fired the the Tough book up the other day, just checking it out, because if I can get into, well, I have to wait until Ryan comes back. If I can get in on a lift for about half an hour, because we need to carefully drill through the floor so I can mount my laptop rack that I've got. Because I have a mounting unit that came right out of a police car. That way I can mount the Tough book, or the police laptop right in. It's a perfect fit. I've checked it. I don't know why, but I just think it would look cooler if I could have found an old Crown Vic that was decent. You know, there's a guy here in the neighborhood. I saw him the other day. Matter of fact, I wanted to follow him, and the light changed. He had a Crown Vic that looked like it just rolled off the showroom floor. And it was a police interceptor. Had the spotlights on it. Was all white. I would love to know where he found that thing. Because I have a shitload of police accessories for Crown Vic. I've got the pod lights with the strobes that mount over the outside of the rear view, the side view mirrors. I've got headlight strobes. I got taillight strobes. My one Vista bar has roof mounts for a Crown Vic. I mean, I could lay a Crown Vic out, make it look just like a police cruiser. But most of them, that I see on what I call, used cars, I call junk lots. They're all rusted to hell and got a gazillion miles on them, and I don't want to take a chance. There was a guy that, about 2 years ago, I saw him going by with a hotshot car trailer. And he had 5 Crown Vics that all looked like brand new. And he stopped for coffee somewhere. I followed him in. I said, "What's with the Crown Vics?" He said, "Well, I'm bringing them in for sale." I said, "What are you looking to get out of them?" He said, "At least $5,000 apiece." I was like, "What?" He says, "None of these have over 50,000 miles on them." I said, "You got to be kidding me." He said, "Yeah, they were supervisors' cars that hardly got driven. Matter of fact, they were backup supervisor cars." And he said most of the time they sat in the back of the police garage. And these cars looked like new. And they had all the police equipment except the siren and the radio. Everything else was still on them. Had he been willing to haggle a little bit, I'd have tried buying one. although I'm still, in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking about buying a little Japanese mini truck. I haven't given up on that idea yet. Because I talked to a shipping company and I got a firm price on what it would cost to ship from California. I talked to the guy that sells them, and I said, you know, if you can find me an older one, I said, I really want an older Subaru Sambar because it looks like a giant frog. I just like the look of the front end because most of the newer ones have either the large rectangular headlight or they'll have the dual halogen, the old glass halogen lamps. But the Sambar still has the old big round headlight. So I told him, I said, see if you can find one. Because in Japan, they have a thing about older vehicles. They get rid of them right away. God, the average in Japan, they own a vehicle the longest, 5 years. A vehicle gets 5 years old, and the Japanese feel unreliable, might cost me money, get rid of it. And that's why all these goddamn trucks and cars that they're importing are like brand new. They're only driven for 4 or 5 years. Then they trade them in. Not to mention, it's a kind of like a vanity thing. Oh, neighbors all have new mini truck. I have 3-year-old mini truck. I need to keep up with Yakashima's. Yeah, it's embarrassing if you're driving something 4 or 5 years old. I'm driving something 25 years old. I'm not embarrassed. And shitbox is, 28 years old, falling apart? I'm not embarrassed. But over in Japan, oh. And you're looked down upon by your employer. Employer, I pay you good money. You no drive old vehicle. You're embarrassment to company. Okay. Hey. I'll tell you what, had I been able to haggle a little more, I almost bought a goddamn fire truck. And an ambulance. He had an ambulance that, I would have loved to had. A Toyota, what do they call the thing? A High Ace or something? The ambulance only had like 6,000 miles on it. And it was 10 years old. And it was fully equipped. They didn't take anything. The siren, the lights, the stretcher. The only thing they took out was like the oxygen bottles and a couple other things, but it was fully equipped. Right-hand drive with a 5-speed. But it was the coolest looking ambulance. Yeah, Ron, I got to get my ass moving here. I got to get that Magnabox TV in here. I got to make room over here. So that we can celebrate the end of this crappy year. Hard to believe. Seems like I was just sitting here celebrating 2025. Now I'll have to remember when I write checks, 2026. Another year older. God damn, that's scary. And hopefully 2026 starts off with me having a title to the Passat. God, I want to get the window fixed, but I don't dare drive into Parma because I'm risking driving to Parma the way it is when I go to the doctor. And I checked today, it is still available. But I want to get the temp tag first. That'll give me 30 days to put the rest of the money aside for this plate. Then I go transfer over to the License Bureau. Tell them, hey, I got this temp tag, but I want this plate. And then they'll order it, I pay for it, and I'll finally be 100% legal. I can't remember if I asked yesterday, Kathy, did you mention the pot holder to your granddaughter? Although I'm sure if you would have mentioned it, I'd have heard her screaming no all the way up here. The antibiotics are working a little more. The swelling is about 60% down. I still have like a spot right here. And I'm gargling with my toxic hazardous waste twice a day. Really, she's excited about it. Oh boy, so am I now. I think it'd be cool just to hang on my fridge. Because after putting that much effort into it, I'm not going to use it. I don't want to screw it up. Me and potholders. I go through oven mitts like crazy because I end up setting the ends on fire. I have a bad habit. Take the mitt off and set it on the stove and forget there's an electric burner right there. And I'm like, something don't smell right. Yeah, there's another one for the garbage. Good thing I only pay $1.25 for them at Dollar Tree. Yeah, I can't wait to drive through the neighborhood next Monday night when everybody puts out all the boxes from Christmas gifts. See how many flat screen TVs were purchased this year for Christmas. God, last year there were boxes up and down. It was like, boy, there must have been a big sale on flat screens. And you see them every size. 24-inch, 30, 35-inch, 45-inch, all the way up to 80 last year. I was like, 80? It takes up a whole wall. I don't understand why somebody would get a TV that goddamn big. Living rooms in these houses are not that large. I guess they want the effect of sitting down at row 1 at the cinema. Yeah. Get a frickin' sore neck watching TV. Then all the, like, what the hell commercial did I see the other night? Was it HBO Basic or... I think it was HBO Basic, $9.99 a month. Still not cheap enough for me. Then there was what? Showtime and Disney for $18.99 a month. Christ, I'll tell you what, somebody got to be watching a TV 24 hours a day in order to reap the benefit of paying that kind of money when, I get so much for free. Matter of fact, last night on Pluto, I watched Miracle on 34th Street. Like I haven't seen that 150,000 times over the years. There's a Miracle on 32nd. It's in the neighborhood. 32nd, 34th. Although they colorized it. And it really ruined the movie. Because I remember it in black and white. And I really wanted to see it in black and white. Now, maybe somebody's running a black and white original. This was colorized. I only watched about half of it. I was like, oh, man. Yeah, Pluto's got a lot of free stuff. So does, oh God, what's the other channel? I can't think of it. I don't watch it that often. Can't think of it. But it's amazing how much free, and not only movies. If you want to watch old TV series. I'll have to write down on my Roku what it's. There's probably what? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. I probably have a selection of 24 to 28 different. Pluto's one of them. No, I can't think of them all because mainly I watch. Most of the time I just click on YouTube because I'm cheap. Because you're going to watch because there's a couple of them on that selection that are pay. But I'll watch movies on Pluto. I'll watch YouTube mostly. I'm trying to think what I watched the other night. Well, I can't even think what the hell I watched the other night. Nah, it was boring anyway. I went back to YouTube. I have to figure out what pork I'm going to make for New Year's Day. Because you're going to have pork and kraut. I was thinking of spare ribs. Or if I could find a real small pork butt or maybe a pork loin. I guess I have to drag my lazy ass to Save a Lot tomorrow and see what they got. Although I would be happy just getting some thick cut pork chops. Putting the pork chops and the sauerkraut in the slow cooker and voila, dinner. Because I did have my obligatory Christmas ham. I'll tell you what, that ham was quite tasty. Very tasty. I was surprised. Matter of fact, I'm thinking of getting a couple more just to keep them celebrity. They were good. I'll tell you what, I was quite impressed. Matter of fact, I think it tasted better than the DAC. Now, see, I'm a chip and dip person, and you're a ice cream and frozen varieties person. Although, God, I haven't had a fudgesicle, Christ, since I was probably in my teens. I used to get them off the ice cream truck. Yeah, fudgesicles, creamsicles. Yeah, as a matter of fact, when I used to go to Gordon Food Service, you could get a case of them, and they were really inexpensive. Problem is, fudgesicles are like potato chips. You can't just eat one. Yeah, I would get a full big box of fudgesicles and creamsicles and a box of drumsticks. I haven't been to Gordon Food Service in several years. I used to go there on a regular basis. Although I'm not going there till the Passat's legal because that's Lakewood. The old Bootsy last night, yesterday, kind of gave me a bit of a scare because he just seemed like he was sleeping way longer than normal. And I went over and he had a dry nose, which that's usually not a good sign. And then he wouldn't eat his cat treats. I was like, uh-oh. And he wasn't really into like he usually is. So I really didn't sleep sound because I kept checking on him. And then this morning, I noticed the cat treats were gone. I was like, well, that's a good sign. And I went out to make my coffee, and he was sitting at the water bowl. Blah, 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 blah. I said, well, that's a good sign. And then I heard him digging the Mariana Trench in his cat box. I said, well, let me go look. And there was a nice fresh puddle. I was like, that's a good sign. And I went over, and he don't like me touching his nose. I touched his nose, it was wet again. I was like, good, you're back to normal. And then today's been normal. So, yeah, when that cat turns down cat treats, I know there's a problem. So he must not have been feeling well yesterday for some reason. He's coming up on, well, 11 years old in 2026. We didn't know for sure. We figured he was a May kitten, an April or May. So we determined he was born somewhere in either late 2014 or early 2015. That's what the vet determined. So he's coming up on the big 11 this year. but he's been doing great with the. He gets his delectables, and then he has his dry food, and I always make sure it's like, what the hell have I got? Gravy bursts. So it's not really dry cat food. And then he likes to drink water, which is always good. And I got the results of my piss test, which I knew was going to be all right. Matter of fact, my doctor's results are in. Good job. It's always a good job. There ain't nothing illegal in my system, Doc. And there was a nice refund in my bank account today from the asshole that screwed me out of a microphone arm. I guess I scared him when I said, either issue me an immediate refund or I will file a dispute with PayPal and eBay. Then this morning opened my email. Refund. Oh, cool. Got my money back. He knew what he was doing. He knew it. You can't, reuse shipping numbers. And you would think that UPS would have caught that when they scanned it and went, wait a minute, you used this number before. Although it kind of irritated me, they wouldn't tell me where the package got delivered. Although somebody, I could see him opening a box going, what the fuck is this? I didn't order this. And, if I get a package that's misshipped, I immediately return it to the seller. This is the third package that this, 1, 2, 3, come on. This is the third time this has happened. And none of the people ever returned the item. They either kept it for themselves or they gave it away. I think, let's see, I've been with eBay 20 years. Yeah, 20 years. In 20 years, I've had 3 packages go haywire. And in 20 years, I've gotten one that shouldn't have come to me. And I was expecting a package. So I opened it up and I was like, carpet cleaner? I didn't order carpet cleaner. So I sent it back to the seller. with a note. I didn't order this. Although I should have kept it. Gee. Although, aren't dogs not supposed to have chocolate? I thought I read somewhere once where dogs aren't supposed to have chocolate. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I read that. Chocolate is supposed to be bad for dogs. I would suggest gargling it, but I'm pretty sure dogs aren't supposed to be eating chocolate. Well, is that what fudge sickets? Is that what fudge sickets are made of? If fudge sickets aren't made of real chocolate, I ain't eating them anymore. And fudge sickles. Although, they have this myth, this old wives' tale, that poinsettia plants are toxic to cats. When I was working at the hospital for Christmas, they gave us, along with, what did we get? A ham for Christmas and a fruit cake. They gave us a poinsettia. And I brought the poinsettia home and I put it on the kitchen table. Right? And the next morning, Boots is out there chewing on a leaf. And right when he was chewing on a goddamn poinsettia leaf, Marianne came over. And she went ballistic. Oh my God, you're going to kill him. You better take him to the vet right now. I said, why? Oh, poinsettias are toxic. I said, well, before I rush him off to the vet, I'll keep an eye on him. Still got fatso. Didn't affect him. Oh, she went bonkers. Yeah, Kathy, I tried Carob once. That was the first and last. I was like, this ain't for me. Although I don't have to worry, I don't have a dog either. But no. I not my cup of tea. So did you season your pan yet, or it's still sitting under the Christmas tree? Oh, that's basically something you save for a rainy day. Like, oh, it's raining, I ain't going out. Oh, I'll season my pan today. I did laundry today. I still hate that machine. Although everything smells like lavender. Yeah, I put my lavender oxidol and my lavender Suavitel and my lavender bleach and my lavender scenties. Yeah, well, Kathy, that, like I say, that's something that if you got shit to do, you put the pan aside for later. Because that's one thing you can't do in a hurry. When you season raw cast iron, you got to take your time and do it right. And then you have a pan that'll last 100 years. If it's properly cared for. Like my grandmother's. Yeah, I couldn't believe when she told me that pan belonged to her great grandmother. It just got passed down, family heirloom. So I keep after it, but I won't cook in it. I don't want to screw it up. Yeah, to properly season raw cast iron, it's a slow process. Like I say, it's a good process for a rainy day when you got nothing better to do. You season the pan and you crochet a queen-size mattress cover. Boy, man, I'll tell you what. My cousin has got to be a crocheting machine to do that twin bed size Afghan in 3 days. Boy, she had to be. I have to take it out of the box. And show it. I have to be real careful about using it because Boots has a bad habit. Sometimes like what I'll do, if I put the Afghan on the bed like a bedspread, then I cover it with a sheet. And sometimes that bastard, he'll pull the sheet down and lay on the Afghan, and then, he has a bad habit sometimes of stretching. Man, when you snag one of them things, well, yeah, Kathy, if you're going to do it olden time style, yeah, that's the way they seasoned them back in, the 1800s. I can almost imagine how my grandmother's great grandmother seasoned that pan when they first got it. That would have been interesting to get the history on that skillet. You're crocheting teeny tiny fish? What does she have a dry aquarium? I've seen people do that. They'll get an aquarium and then they don't put water in it, but they make it look like it should have fish and water in it. Man, back in the day when when I was raising tiger Oscars, Christ, I had a basement full of aquariums. I had a 300-gallon. That was the breeding tank. And then I had twin 150s where I kept the males and the females. And then I had what did I have? 6 50-gallon. I think I had 6 50-gallon, and then I had like a dozen 20s. Because you had hatching tanks, and then everything was going great. I was making good money until 3 of the pet shops closed up. And the remaining ones were like, no, we don't buy from private breeders. We only get from, commercial. I was like, oh, wonderful. I said, mine are probably healthier. Sorry. No deal. So I put them on, oh, God, what was the front runner to Facebook Marketplace? People hardly use that website anymore. What the hell was that site you sell anything on? Oh, God, angelfish. A guy I work with, his father, matter of fact, he was a champion breeder of angelfish. And over on Pearl Road, he had an aquarium shop, All Champ. And, God, he had tanks and tanks of angelfish in various sizes. And Craigslist, yeah. Yeah, I ended up selling everything on Craigslist. The fish, the tanks, everything. I had my fill of tiger Oscars. But I remember, as a matter of fact, he was my body shop parts man. And he told me, he says, you ought to go out and see my father's pet store. And he had angelfish from, basically you could barely make them out as angelfish, they were so tiny, up to and then he retired and sold the shop, and the guy wasn't interested in breeding angelfish. I don't think it lasted too much longer, and I think he went under. Oh, yeah, he was showing me the big ones, and he said, now, walk past the tank. And I walked past the tank. Yeah. He said, now, watch when I walk past the tank. He no sooner come into view, and all them big-ass angelfish were right in the corner. And then as he walked by, they were like following him. He said, now, walk back. I walked back, and the fish were like, He came back, and it was... He could put his hand in, and they would like nibble on his hand and rub against it. It was amazing to watch. Oh, pufferfish are cool. I used to like going in the pet store and pissing them off just to get them to... They're amazing. That little skinny thing and then... I had a friend that had an octopus. And he had to literally, he had a top made that was out of 4x4s, because that goddamn octopus, if he had a regular top on the tank, could push that off and he'd start to crawl out. It was the coolest thing. He had it for years. You know, they say they only, certain ones only live like a year or 2 years. He had this one for at least 5 that I know of. And it was smart. He would put the food, he had this plexiglass thing, and he would lower it in to the tank. And that octopus had to, like, reach around and get a hold of the food and pull it out. And It was, you talk about something that is amazingly intelligent. Octopus are probably the most intelligent things in the ocean. They are amazing. Or in the lake or whatever water they're in. Yeah, when he bought the newer tank and he thought the top was heavy enough, he was watching TV one night and the goddamn octopus was hanging over the edge of the tank. He was like, whoa, 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 get back in there. Hey, hey. But when he would lower that box, it had all kinds of angles to get to the food. And that octopus said, okay, let's see. They are just the coolest things, but they require a lot of attention. You can't just plop an octopus in a tank and go, okay, there you go. And the neat thing was when it would change color. Like a blink of an eye. Yeah, it was red, now it's white. Now it looks like seaweed. Oh, I've seen big plecos. The pet shop that I used to deal with, he had one that was like 12 inches long. It was huge. He said, well, I started with a little. Matter of fact, there was a pet shop in North Olmsted that, he had big, huge cement tanks out in the back behind the pet shop. And he had fucking goldfish that were the size of basketballs. I didn't know a goddamn goldfish could grow that big. He said, out in open water, he said a goldfish can grow up to 300 pounds. A goldfish? He said, yeah. Believe it or not. As much as I liked my aquariums, I don't miss them. I don't go into a pet store and go, gee, I'd like to have one of them again. No. They're a pain in the ass. Because people think, once it's set up, drop a little food in, you're good to go. No, you got to clean filters, you got to do water changes, keep after algae, and not for me anymore. If I had an aquarium, I'd raise clams. Go out to a lake and get me some freshwater clams. There. You want a little food? Here. I would do something simple like shrimp. Something that doesn't require a lot of maintenance. Oh God, I don't even want to think about an aquarium. Oh. That was a hobby that got out of hand. Half of my basement was aquariums. Although I'll tell you what, I didn't need a humidifier. But yeah, literally half of my basement was all aquariums. I look like a giant pet store. And I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all. I had somebody who wanted to give me an aquarium. Was all set to. He said, "I'll move it. I'll drain it like half, and I'll move it. I'll bring it in. I'll set it up." I just no. He said, "Well, you used to have them, and it was a hobby." I said, "Yeah, people change hobbies. My hobby is no longer fish." I mean, I would come home from work, have dinner, and that was before I had a kid. And I would literally spend at least 3 hours a night in that tank, cleaning this, that. No. No more. I was really happy the day the last tank left the basement. I did not shed a tear. I just counted the money. I had a huge filtration system because that was when they came out with what they called drillable tanks. And you could literally drill a hole in them. And I had a big, massive, all of my aquariums ran off of one big, giant biofilter in the corner of the basement. No more. Never. But I mean, if you're going to get into breeding like I was, you can't have each tank with one little filter box. No. God, that biofilter. Christ, that thing cost me like $1,000, and that was back in the 70s. Imported from Europe. Only basically fish and fish breeders had these big biofilters. And like I say, each tank went from one to the other, the whole, whatever I had, 30 aquariums all ran off this big, huge biofilter. And then I had to have an AC pump and a DC pump in case the power went out, because it had to be running 24 hours a day. Storage batteries, oh, no thank you. The only good thing was there was a U.S. representative that sold them biofilters, and he actually set it up when I got it. He flew in from, where the hell did he come from? San Francisco or San Diego? And that was mainly his job. If somebody in the U.S. ordered one of these, he installed it. And of course, you know, like I say, you didn't just buy the goddamn biofilter, then you had to buy the DC pump, and you had to have storage batteries and this and that, and warning buzzers and lights. And I mean, it made for rapid growth because the water was constantly fresh. But each tank had to have a heater in it, and my electric bill was like, the illuminating company was really happy that I had an account with them. You know, it's like with any hobby. They can get out of hand. Whether you're a coin collector or a stamp collector or a gun collector or a car collector, it gets out of hand. And with me, it got out of hand. I said, no more. Nope. When the last tank left the house, I was like, that's it. I don't even want to see fish unless it's on my plate. Surrounded with tartar sauce. I actually considered buying a goddamn pet store. Thank God the loan didn't go through. Grumpy's Pets. Or Grumpy Pets. That's what if I had a pet store today, that's what I'd call it. Grumpy Pets. Now I would get them cats that look like they're pissed off. The original Grumpy Cat. All my friends are telling me I should get one. You need a Grumpy Cat. I says, I have boots. No, you need a Grumpy Cat. I can't remember what breed they are, but that's what they call them. You see pictures, the original Grumpy Cat. Because they look like they're pissed off all the time. If I could get one cheap, I would consider it a Grumpy Cat. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to have to gargle what breed they are. Although, my friend has got a cool one. A Scottish Fold. The ears are like, the cat looks like it don't have any ears. They call him a Scottish fold. That's a cool looking cat. But I need a grumpy cat. And teach it to sit here and stare at the bird. It would be cool, huh? Boots would get pissed off, though. I can't see Boots sharing a bed with me and Grumpy Cat. I could see a war. All right, somebody's got a gargle. Grumpy. What's a Grumpy Cat? What breed is a Grumpy Cat? Although you used to see them. There would be a lot of TikTok videos or Instagram with Grumpy Cat. You don't see them much anymore. I would remember back in the day, there'd be a lot of Grumpy Cat pictures and videos and as much as I want a Bengal or a Serval, my next cat might be a Grumpy Cat. And it's got to really look grumpy. That would be neat, though, have him stare at the bird, maybe bat the bird a couple of times. I'll hear that in the morning. He's talking about getting a cat. I already have a cat. He just don't like coming in here a lot. I don't know what changed in his mood. He used to come in here and lay right next to me. Although I'd have to get up and he'd get pissed off like, hey, I just fell asleep for Christ's sake. Well, move out of the way, fat ass. And he's got a bad habit of sitting in the middle of the kitchen floor. And I'll go to walk around him in the tail. You know, they just have to swish their tail. And I'm like, whoa, I almost stepped on you. Get that thing out of my way. It seems like they aim for your foot. Let's see if he misses me. Ow! Oops, sorry. I'm starting to pushing them out a little bit. I don't do much talking during the day. I try to save my, yes, because it's still just a little tender here. Persians, British short hair, and Himalayan. If I remember right, the British short hair is the really grumpiest looking one. I guess I'll have to look at pictures. Oh, I don't want to think of getting a cat right now. No. Although this is breeding season right now. It's kittening time. I know that because of my kid's goddamn cats in heat. Rolling around like an idiot, yowling. And she's always got to go in a hallway. I tell him, keep her upstairs. She comes down, she gets in the hallway. Had all my throw rugs all fucked up in the kitchen this morning. Roll it around like an idiot. Oh, really? I never knew the cat had a name. God, neither one of them breeds looks grumpy. I mean, before Boots, Beast was a big tabby. Interesting. I don't even want to think of a kitten right now. No. I'm a sucker for kittens. I go in a pet shop and there's 10 of them in a box, and I'm like, I'll take them all. Although kittens are adorable. Who can turn down a kitten? Yeah, I stay away from pet shops during breeding season. Because the last time I went to Pets R Us, they had like 8 kittens. They were all tuxedos. I want them all. The guy said, you can't have them all. I said, well, I can't choose. That one's cute, that one's cute, that one's cute, that one's cute. Although I am a sucker for tuxedos. Although I've never had a gray and white tuxedo. I think those are so neat. My neighbor had one. It was a dark gray and white, and it was just the coolest cat. Matter of fact, him and Boots would sit and look at each other across the driveway. I'd open the drapes in the morning, and then my neighbor would open the drapes, and his cat, and the two of them would stare at each other all day. I can't think of the cat's name. Kitty. Oh, how could I forget that? I said, what's your cat's name? Kitty. I said, you didn't think too long on that one, did you? He said, well, that's all it would come to. Here, kitty, kitty. Yeah. Yeah, he moved away, and I forgot to ask him where he was moving to, and I lost track of him. He had mentioned it once, and it was kind of sudden. He was like, Well, in 2 weeks we're moving. Really? Yep. Where? He mentioned it. And then I wasn't paying attention, and then one day he was gone. I guess he trying to get away from me. That's it for the coffee. Last cup of the night. Yeah, I'm going to have to make room in here. Well, first thing I got to do is check the connections on the back of the TV. Because I don't think my other small form factor computer has got HDMI output. Yeah, I guess I better not delay on that. The end of the year is coming quick. Make room, put the TV here. Because it's on a nice stand. Not like last year where it was down here. This way it'll be up here. We can watch the ball drop. God, 5 days. Wow. Unbelievable. Where did the year go? It sucks to get old because the older you get, the faster the years go. But this year has not been a joy, I'll say that. As much as I hate the thought, I can't wait till it ends. Because 2026 has got to be better. It really does. Although I'm, looking at 2 surgeries next year. I don't know how I'm going to work that out. Because I won't be able to drive. One foot, the accelerator foot will be screwed up, and that one will no sooner heal, and then the clutch foot will be screwed up. Don't want to think about it right now. Nope. Now, do we get a Social Security check the end of the month? Or does the next check fall at normal time? The end of the year, there's always something goofy with Social Security checks. I don't know if we get one more, which basically, if we get it in December, it's for January, or the January check will deposit regular. That's what I thought. I thought there was, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I read something about there'd be one more, which, big deal. 3 days early, whoopee. It goes as fast as it comes anyway, so. Well, peoples, I think it's about that time. And hopefully, by the end of the year, I can sing. And with that, everybody have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again right here tomorrow night. And with that, everyone, take care. See you tomorrow. See ya. Take two. See ya.